Is being CPU and OS agnostic the key to IoT security? I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Eran Fine. He is the co-founder and CEO of NanoLock Security. Welcome, Eran.
Hey, Tonya. Nice being here.
Tell us about NanoLock. What do you do?
So NanoLock is an Israeli startup that aims to protect edge devices with limited computing power, regardless of their CPU power or the OS, assuming an attacker may come either from the network or with a physical access. And we provide that solution to our customers from the production line or the first time the device is going on until the end of life of the device.
ARM and Microsoft recently announced a security solution for billions of IoT devices to protect Microsoft Cloud customers. The key phrase is to protect Microsoft Cloud customers. So how will the rest of the industry respond to secure these billions of vulnerable devices?
So by the end of this interview, we'll give them our phone number and website, and they can call us because we're doing a protection both of the edge and the cloud and the relationship between them. And we're somehow in the same realm of what ARM and Microsoft are doing, but we're being cloud agnostic and processor agnostic, also working on the assumption that CPU and processors like ARM or Intel can be broken and infringed. So it's very similar to what Microsoft and ARM are doing, but we think it's dramatically more resilient with wider scope and capabilities.
Tell us about the considerations and challenges in protecting billions of IoT devices scattered across the globe. Are IoT manufacturers getting the security message?
So I think the first challenge is defining them as billions. So you have a diversity. You don't have, it doesn't come as one size fits all. So you need to be, again, CPU and OS agnostic and not specific. That's one challenge. Number two, the ecosystem is complicated, fragmented, and long. So you need to slice through the ecosystem. You need to address multiple devices. And you need to do that in a manner that there's an economics to it. And the way NanoLock is addressing is by coming to the cloud providers, service providers, and large OEM and enable them to establish a business of managing, protecting, and serving IoT devices. The fundamental thing that we combine both the ultra-strong protection with an ROI approach allows us to motivate the industry. In some cases, they will choose us. In some cases, they will choose our competitors. But in any case, stimulating and moving the industry into protecting those edge devices is something that is a task that everybody needs to address. And I think the challenge has to be overcome by finding a phenomenal security. Number two, being platform agnostic. And number three, find the economics. These are the three pillars of challenges that we're addressing.
What are some of the new security threats emerging on the IoT horizon?
It's a great question. I think the first one is an ability to touch the device. So when you have IoT, it means there are a lot of devices in the street, in the factories, in the field. And most of them have this USB. So you think this is very nice. There's a USB, but the USB is an attack vector. So until now, we always thought about cyber as the guys coming from the network, but now it's a combination of network and a physical access. That's one challenge. Number two is production line. If until now, many of the manufacturers that manufacture in their own country, now they're scattered around the world, and the big organizations want to have a security that crosses geographies, crosses networks, and enforce their policy regardless if the device is manufactured in their hometown or the other side of the globe. So it's diversity, it's different attack vectors, it's the globalization of production that poses this new threat vectors.
How do you see the cloud and IoT influencing or complementing each other regarding IoT security?
So, in other words, the device is the working component and the cloud is on the enterprise side. So you have an embedded side and you have the enterprise. So you need the cloud in order for the enterprise to generate a business and generate a profit. And then the trust between the device and the cloud, whether the device has to report to the cloud or the cloud manages or sends updates to the device, this root of trust sits in the basic of the challenges and any security solution out there. So you need to create a root of trust between them. You need to be able to give the enterprise through the cloud an ability to manage and update the device. And the cloud has to be trustworthy, so it won't be a new attack vector that comes through the device. The weakest point in the chain and through that attack the network and through that cloud. So you need to harden and protect both of them and make them trust each other in a way and create a secure channel between them. Otherwise, you have a security hole either on this side or the other side.
How is the declining cost of processing power and connectivity affecting the design of security features in IoT devices?
I'm not sure I agree with you that declining prices. So declining prices is always for the products of last year. So if you're looking for the processor of last year or the year before, that's fine. But processors were considered to be the preferred embedded protection, but they're expensive. The ability or the fact that they're running trusted areas or encryption requires both energy, they generate heat, and it was nicely proven by Intel that in some cases you can break the CPU as well. So the question is, can the processor be the fundamental part of the security? In some cases, yes. In some cases, you want something to be CPU agnostic. So I'm not sure it's the declining cost because it's the overall system. You can have a very strong CPU that costs less, but then you need heatsink, you need a lot of energy, you need a lot of software. So the environment remains quite expensive. So I'm not seeing more or stronger CPUs coming into IoT. I'm seeing the other way around. It's a very low computing power device struggling to justify the economics. So I'm not sure complicated CPUs are the answer there. But again, there's room for everyone.
So do you foresee any IoT specific security standards being proposed or implemented in the near future? I mean, is Open Trust Protocol enough?
I don't think so. So again, when we speak about IoT security, we speak usually on the runtime, but you have production issues, you have end of life. So the ecosystem runs from the first second of the device on the production line of the device itself until the end of life. And the markets are fragmented. And IoT is a marketing statement, but you have automotive, which is IoT. You have industrial controllers. You have SCADA. You have security cameras. You have routers. I don't think, again, that all of them will be regulated and there will be standardizations. There will be specific challenges in specific sectors that will be addressed either by regulation or standardization, but more important by the forces of the market. With the Mirai about a year ago, the immediate need to protect security cameras arose because the market would not buy from a non-secure camera provider. The same with routers. That's not regulated, that's not a standard, but the industry, the market, and both the enterprises and the consumers are demanding or will demand that in the future.
What makes NanoLock Security platform different?
Again, the ability to be CPU agnostic, OS agnostic, energy level agnostic, that's one thing. Number two, it's a extremely powerful protection, assuming that, again, that the attacker may have a network access or a physical access. But the ability to deploy it pretty easily, again, and have a very strong protection on one side, but the other side, that there's an ROI thinking. So we have a management platform and the cloud side, which is with the idea that there's an enterprise, so it has to be an enterprise level or in a sense, a cloud or a telco grade platform. So you have the enterprise knowing how to operate those small devices in this non-trusted world on one side, while saying I can manage and I can trust the device now for the first time. So it's the complete solution from one angle and the very, very specific focus on ultra strong embedded protection.
What advice do you have for IoT manufacturers regarding security?
It's a great question, which I'm not sure I have a very smart advice for them. But if I'm trying to think about it, is do that from the design, because adding features afterwards will not work. Don't throw more and more and more layers of protection. Think of one on the embedded side, one on the network side. Choose the best one and you're pretty much covered. And the last point, if you don't protect the ability to send secured updates to the device, you'll be lost. So it's protecting the device, sealing the network and the embedded side as well, and making sure that this device that has to be managed and updated is secured at that angle. and start all of that from the design of the device.
How about for IoT customers?
They come in so many shapes and forms. So whether it's the consumer, that's one question, and they're more cautious about protecting their data and information, to enterprises and OT, operation technology companies, that are more fearful about protecting their firmware, boot image, and the weight on the survivability of the device, and the ability to continue to operate under threats and under attacks. That's again what NanoLock is doing. We're not protecting the data, we're protecting the code, the boot image, and the firmware. And so they come in so many ways and forms and shapes that they don't have one answer for all the consumers.
Okay, Eran, what makes Israel such a hotbed for computer security experts and companies?
Well, the easy answer is the Army, of course, but it's an ecosystem that arose around very talented people that the Army was a great start. Number two, I don't know if you know, but people are threatening Israel from time to time. So we have developed a methodology to protect ourselves from the cyber and other attacks. And number three, I think it's a good level of education and a culture of sharing information, debating about things. What seems from the outside as the aggressive Israeli is in many cases the very direct, very open, very willing to share and brainstorm. So these are the same side of the same equation. So I think it's a climate, an ecosystem, the unique environment we live in, and of course, the fact that we have a lot of customers, and I think US is the largest partner and customer for our technology. It trained us, educated us, and brought us from the infancy of technology into, I think, the way that we are a very dominant player in the market today.
Eran Fine, CEO and co-founder at NanoLock Security. Thank you so much for your insight. If somebody wants to connect with you, maybe they want to find out more about your work, how can they do that?
So the best way is to go to our website, www.nanolocksecurity.com. And there's an info there. I get those emails and I'm excited to answer. You can also look for me at LinkedIn, Eran.Fine. I'm there and I'm very happy to answer questions and address issues.
Well, thanks again. And if you guys want to find my interviews, you can right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or maybe go to find me on social media at TonyaHall.net. I've got links to all my social channels. Thanks for watching.